Hey everybody, just a really quick update. Remember that stuff I was showing you last night with the rings and everything? Well, it reminded me of something that I had seen in a cathedral a while back. So just let me play this over for you again. So here's our circles, and then we have our rings. And the rings cross over the middle of each ring of circles. So we have a ring here crossing through the middle of these. And if you notice the way these circles are packed, and actually it's actually called, the scientific wording for it is actually called packing circles. So there's actually a lot of science behind this, and it's still working. They're still working on trying to figure out how to do this. So here are the rings, and then these rings, because of their percentages as they move out, they carry a very special thing with them. So as each ring gets larger, and it's approximately, each ring, the smaller ring is approximately 62.7, no, it's about 64%, somewhere around there. About 64% of the larger ring, okay? And because of that, it seems to carry a very special thing here. So if we take a look at the spheres, these spheres represent a 27.5% of the, for example, if this is the Earth right here, this one right here, then 27.5% of that is this one here, the smaller one that fits in the orbit of the one around the Earth. Okay, so that's the way this works. So the larger one here, that's dark, is the next larger ring, and if we consider that a planet, then 27.5% of that is the size of this sphere, which fits in the orbit of the next ring. Kind of interesting how this works. So then if we add our geometry to this, we can see that in every case, and what I've noticed is that when I went back to take a look at the cathedral, I noticed that there was something really interesting about it, and that is that if you notice, the pyramid is now encompassing a whole circle each time, but it still leaves the same bit at the very top. So if we zoom all the way in, we take a look at this guy right here. He totally encompasses the white circle, but his tip pokes out of the orbit of, say if this is the Earth and this is the Moon, its tip pokes out of the orbit of the Moon. So on the next one, we have this light tan pyramid, and you can see that the same configuration happens. You have this dark ring that can be considered the size of the Earth. Here's its moon, and you can see how it fits inside each one, and the tip of this one, pokes out of the orbit of this one. And I think this may have something to do with the planets, which I'm going to check into in a while. Of course, the 7 planets that I'm referring to, right? And it very well may be possible that Saturn's role in all of this is to show some kind of a correlation between the rings that we see here and what we actually see on Saturn. Because what I did was I compared the configuration of the way these rings look and their percentages to what we actually see on the north, or on the pole of Saturn, where we have the hexagon. And if you notice, if you take a look at the hexagon, the rings and their percentages are very similar to what we see. So if this was the Earth, the rings as they get larger seem to mimic what we see on Saturn, which is really interesting. So it kind of gives us, maybe this whole Saturn thing is encompassing all of these together. It's kind of representing all of the other planets together. That's just a thought in my head for right now. But anyway, here we go. And so this is what I remembered. So if we take a look at, for example, let's just strengthen this a little bit. Now, if you take a look at this large white pyramid here, and take a look at the red sun, and I want you to notice the way the bottom corners are poking out from this red sun, or whatever you want to call it, or planet, or what have you. And you notice the way the top is and the way the corners poke out. Well, it reminded me exactly of what I saw in St. Joseph Cathedral. And so if we take a look at the configuration here in St. Joseph Cathedral, you see the same thing. Notice how the corners of this are pretty far out when it comes to this on this circle, but the top's kind of chopped off a little bit. He actually has 3 layers, or 1, 2, 3 layers of the pyramid here. But the top brown layer, which some people would call the part between the stained glass, which was actually done on purpose to show this kind of stuff, you'll notice it's chopped off a little bit. And that is what is showing right here. If you take a look at where the corners and the top are, they're literally identical. And this has something to do with the geometry of the way the Trinity is and the way the worlds are. For example, if we take a look at the top of here, the top of this corner, and this corner would be considered outside of the world that we see that is in red, right? They all exist outside of that world. And it's kind of the way the Trinity works. So when you're working with a tetractys is an equilateral triangle. And we've seen that in all the geometry that I'm showing you. But the pyramid is showing us something special about these orbits and the configuration here. But it's also showing us something about man, which we'll get into later on. Man and woman, women. When I say that word, by the way, I'm referring to both sexes, because it's a general term. Somebody tried to say something about that a while back, but I don't like to play into that kind of stuff. So anyways, I just wanted to give you an update on this real quick, and this is kind of where we are. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon.